With the draft a few weeks away, these mock drafts are really starting to heat up. There are a lot of different opinions on who the Chiefs should take in the first round. I've seen some mock drafts projecting left tackle, some projecting cornerback, and many are projecting that the Chiefs will take a wide receiver. Nick Wright thinks the Chiefs will take Alabama stud cornerback Kool-Aid McKinstry, but I'm hoping for a wide receiver, as Veach has done a pretty good job at drafting cornerbacks and defensive backs in general in the later rounds. Mel Kiper Jr. was on NFL Live discussing how deep this wide receiver draft class is and who he thinks teams in the bottom of the first round will pick. He had the Chiefs selecting stud wide receiver Xavier Legette out of South Carolina. I think that would be a great pickup. At 6'1", 220 pounds plus, he's a big receiver, but also fast. He ran a 4.3 40-yard dash at the NFL Combine, and I think he's going to be electric in the NFL. Some have compared him to the likes of A.J. Brown and even DK Metcalf. But I have a question for my Chiefs fans. If Xavier Legette and A.D. Mitchell are both available when we pick in the first round, who do you guys take? I think Veach is going to have a very tough decision on his hands with this pick. Take a listen to Mel Kiper Jr. and Louis Riddick. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comment section. Hit that like button for your boy and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.
What a great kid. McConkey, the 10th wide receiver taken in Mel's latest mock at number 39 overall to the Panthers. 10 would be the most wide receivers taken in the top 40 in the common draft era. Mel has the Bills taking Brian Thomas Jr. out of LSU there at number 28, and then the Chiefs taking Xavier Legette out of South Carolina with that final pick in the first round. We have heard so much about this depth at receiver, so we're looking there, Mel, at the bottom of the first round. Tell us about these two receivers in particular and the impact that you envision them having.
And Buffalo is going to be interesting. Brandon Beane, general manager, is he going to move up and get a receiver that he targets? Is he going to wait it out? It's Brian Thomas Jr. averaged 17 yards a catch with 17 touchdowns this year. Slides down that far. Keep in mind, Dalton Kincaid's the go-to guy right now, right? Stephon Diggs has now moved on to Houston. He had that key drop against the Chiefs in the playoffs, right? Remember, Josh launched that pass right in his head, dropped. Key play late in the game, final drive. So I think the guy can catch the football on a consistent basis. Brian Thomas Jr., emerging guy with a ton of talent. Like I said, everything goes through Kincaid there. The Chiefs, Xavier Legette, another guy, catches the football. Had a great year at South Carolina. That one phenomenal season. Another guy, Adonai Mitchell from Texas, if he's there, is going to be interesting. I have him to the Lions. But wide receiver depth could push a couple good players like Brian Thomas Jr. and Xavier Legette down the board to the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah, the interesting thing about these guys that Mel is talking about, whether it be Brian Thomas, A.D. Mitchell, or Xavier Legette, is the profile of the players, you know, in terms of their body type, their height, their weight, their speed, you know, what kind of physical traits that they have. Because there's a difference between, obviously, inside players primarily and then outside players who are true X's and Z's, guys who can win on the outside. And those types of players are exactly what Buffalo and Kansas City respectively need. They need those guys who can line up on the outside in one-on-one situations and win jump ball situations, win at the third level of the defense. The kind of guys who, when you need them to, can come inside, take the short slant, split the defense, and then take it 70, 80 yards. All three of these guys can do that kind of thing. And see, and that's what's important, because both of these teams, whether you're talking about Kansas City or Buffalo, they have the guys who can work the intermediate game, who can work between the numbers. And if you're like think about Kansas City right now with who knows what's going to happen here with Rashee Rice in terms of his status and his availability for 2024. You think that Patrick Mahomes wouldn't love a guy like A.D. Mitchell, like Xavier Legette, where if you turn on his tape at South Carolina, is basically like A.J. Brown liked. He's that kind of guy. The kind of guy who just can absolutely rip you. A.D. Mitchell, the kind of guy who you see here on the highlights, who can just push off at the move point and win in those red zone contested ball situations. They need that kind of 6'2", 6'3", 212, 215, 220-pound wide receiver who runs sub 4.4. That's what's so cool about this draft, about just how deep the wide receiver position is.
Okay, so knowing that it's deep field, which one of these teams cannot afford to not take that first-round receiver.
Yeah, to me, it's the Buffalo Bills. And Kansas City has proven, even as recently as, like a few months ago, that they can win even with an offense that kind of took maybe 17, 18 weeks to find its way. But it's Buffalo. They currently pick at number 28. I felt like wide receiver was a need even prior to the Stephon Diggs trade. But you think about a guy like Xavier Worthy, who Mel had going 23rd in his mock, Brian Thomas Jr. and Adonai Mitchell, players that Lewis just highlighted. I lean towards the guys that have a bit more size to their profile. But the good news is for all of these guys, and believe it or not, Brian Thomas Jr. and A.D. Mitchell are the two slow ones in this trio. They ran, in the 4.3s at 200-plus pounds. But with the arm strength of Josh Allen, the vertical element of that Buffalo offense is going to be a factor. One of those two or one of those three players needs to be a target for Buffalo Bills GM Brandon Beane, who has moved